RantCast! Alright, I think we're live. We've had some technical issues. Thanks everybody for your patience. Strange Bus is actually on live tech support. So here I am. This is episode 35 of the RantCast PodCast. We're listening to the sounds of Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. Check him out on YouTube. Hey Ribby and JoeCosier. Yeah, thanks guys. So a lot of nonsense, a lot of shenanigans going on. But we do have topics tonight. Whether we can get Strange Bus up and running, we'll see. But yeah, a lot of blame to go around. How's it going, man?
Continue. Well, I'm on the phone with my ISP.
Yep.
Remember, you can say, there's a problem if you need help. So, do you see your home page in your browser?
Yes.
Yeah, we can definitely hear that. All right, do you want me to go ahead and just jump into topics? I've got the power hour ready. Talking some hero.
Yeah, you go ahead and get started, and I'll join you here in a minute.
Sounds good. All right, so I know a few other people have done videos on this, but we did have some recent developments in the world of TseuQuesT, or what was it that Amalgamash called it? TseuQuesT. So originally, back in 2013, there was something called the HeroQuest 25th Anniversary Edition, and it was through GameZone Miniatures, and they were on a bunch of Kickstarters, and there's a bunch of nonsense. Basically, a lot of people concluded after a few years that it was a scam, that this guy was never going to deliver, and thank goodness Hasbro got the copyright back and just went ahead and released their own version, the remake HeroQuest, which we all know and love. And this obscure attempt to revive HeroQuest just kind of disappeared. But the fact remained that there were lots of people that put money into this program that never got anything. Well, very recently, there's been stuff happening. There's been rumblings that it's actually coming out for real. It's like, what? So I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a browser here. And we'll take a look and see what's been happening. So there's the RantCast. So this, of course, is GameZone Miniatures, their website. And this is not an endorsement. This is just acknowledging the fact that things are changing, apparently. And there is a language barrier here. So there's the box. Hola, amigo. This is all coming out of Spain. So good news, we can already run the official launch of TseuQuesT. Finally, now I do. We'll start with the Spanish edition first. For both logistical and working batch control and shipping, control is the most appropriate. Let me kill the music here. Let's see. Okay, the patrons and pre-sales of the project are mostly Spanish by far. Once the Spanish edition has been completed, we will then follow the other four languages, English, German, French, and Italian. Editions in these four languages will be available at once. It will be put on sale in Spanish stores and in our online store from Friday, May 3rd, 2024. So there you go. So people are saying, well, don't give this guy any money. He deserves to fail. I hope he fails. I hope they take away his artistic license. I mean, people were pissed, rightly so, for all these years of being put off and basically just being convinced that this is never, ever going to happen. But if you look at what they plan to do, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I mean, these miniatures are made out of resin, so that could be bad. They could be brittle. But, I mean, they had these, we've talked about this before. They have the cards have like little wheels inside them so that you can rotate it with your thumb to like count like hit points and stuff, which is kind of a cool feature. And they started to change the names, so it wouldn't be an exact replica of HeroQuest, but it would be pretty much the same sorts of things. So instead of water spells, they're aqua spells. You've got your different alchemy symbols here. We've seen all this before. There's the board and the pieces and the gamer screen, GM screen, the big huge box. And of course, it looks very reminiscent of HeroQuest. And these Game Zone miniatures, these metal miniatures, they've been selling these for years. So I mean, you could always buy these, but there's just a whole bunch of them in the box for like 135 euros. So pretty decent price for what you get. Again, assuming people actually get it. So the new wrinkle is not this. This could be anything. He can say whatever he wants. He can say, yeah, it's coming out. Sure it is. Sure, buddy. You know, this was the old Kickstarter page. There was the intellectual property dispute, so it was taken down. This thing was taken down, this other crowdfunding. So, I mean, they've been through years of this nonsense. There was this post on Board Game Geek from Mike Slinker talking about from a game designer perspective. You know, he basically just bashed it, warned people away from it. Board Game Geek has a savage take on it. They're just like, let's see what it says here. Unfinished game resulting from HeroQuest 25th anniversary scam. So it's like, wow. But see, I'm not one of the people that put money into this. So maybe my perspective is going to be different. I'm just like, hey, another game comes out, if it's real, if it's affordable, why not? You know, it's just another option for people if they want it. I mean, I've been part of crowdfunding campaigns that went really, really wrong, and I really felt like an idiot for participating. So I know the feeling. Looking at these images, so they've got these barrel dice, which are kind of weird. But you can tell that they changed some of these things on purpose just so that it would be different than the official HeroQuest. You know, so they're barrel dice instead of D6s. And I mean, these are modified miniatures, so this is not what it actually looks like. But people were figuring out, oh, you could just print out half the stuff yourself and just kind of use proxies because you're just using Game Zone miniatures and just create like an alternate version of HeroQuest. I mean, this is what I thought HeroQuest was going to be when they remade it. Like it was going to be a game loosely inspired by it, but it was going to be like a modern, like modular type game. But it could be good. It could be interesting. And it would be compatible in a sense because you'd just be using, alternate components. And you could use, the same quests because all the assets are pretty much there. They're just given different names. So they're called Primordial Chaos instead of Dread or just Chaos. Cheers, Dead Gamer. So here's the latest thing. So there was an actual unboxing. I'm gonna have to grab it here real quick. An unboxing video, and you don't see everything as you'd expect, because it's like, well, when in an unboxing, wouldn't you just unbox everything? But here it is, and this is from Doublefail on YouTube. So I'm not going to play the sound. TseuQuesT unboxing. And of course, TseuQuesT is just quest spelled backwards, forwards and backwards. This is in Spanish. So we got this little cool intro. So, okay, let's get to the actual meat of it. Give me the meat. Give it to me raw. That was a terrible show. So there it is. So there's the box. It's probably not going to take a full 30 seconds to open. Tot. But see that logo was pretty much the HeroQuest 25th anniversary. Now it'd be like the 35th anniversary at this rate. That logo was what everybody was talking about at one point. I didn't even hear about it until basically all the dust had already settled. And they'd already switched over, and Hasbro had settled everything and was like, okay, here, we're starting our countdown. We're doing our own thing. Don't worry about that other project. The other thing people complained about is this Game Zone company was like, well, if you're tired of waiting for our project, you can have the Hasbro one instead. So apparently they ordered copies of the Hasbro game, and they took forever to ship those out if they ever did. So again, people were pissed. People were demanding refunds. So, I mean, the artwork looks cool. But clearly it's using like a different, more modern art style. So he's taking the stuff out, he's looking at it. Get some higher resolution here. Okay, so we got commentary. Yeah, thanks for your patience, guys. RantCast, got it wrong. RantCast, Sir Ragnar's quest. They have an explanation on the logo now. The H is two T's facing each other. See, I thought that was interesting that there's like a little hole in the GM screen. Like, so I guess you can see Zargon's dice rolls, or you could slip a miniature through. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It gives some accountability to the GM, like he's not just straight up cheating. I mean, all that looks fine. Looks very flexible. The cards are like non-standard sizes, so that'd make it harder to print and play unless you were spending a lot of extra cash. So there's the board. It's quad fold. Oh, it's double-sided. Yeah, we knew that. Okay. So yeah, just getting messages from Strange Bus there. He's talking with tech support, so he's going to be a while. So I'll just forge ahead. See that board right that you see right there. That reminds me a lot of the custom board that I printed for my HeroQuest fan streams. I mean, I took a scan of the classic 1989 board and I just blew it up to the size of the remake board and gave it like a matte finish so it looked better on camera. You know, it wasn't like reflecting, glowing back, like not too shiny. ElVirg says, so it's still TQT and the two T's are just in a spot nobody would ever know about. Yeah, they look like little axes. So it's like TseuQuesT. Okay, that's a lot of business cards. Everything in this video has been seen since 2016 as a physical item. Well, but I've never seen them like in a box like this. I've seen pictures of the stuff scattered around, and it's like, yeah, they've shown the factory with the miniatures, but fair point. And I guess in theory, if you're still going with the angle this is a scam, I mean, yeah, they box the stuff up and they send it to some guy, and then that doesn't mean you can really buy it. 2016, wow. So is it just legal issues that are holding it up? I mean, supposedly this guy went to court for breach of contract or whatever. I'm not a legal expert, especially not in like Spanish law. It's odd they sent out some pre-production videos. Yeah, I remember those. You can see a little bit more here. He's still going through court. Okay, yeah. So there you go. Yeah, it looks like a lot. It makes me think of RantQuest in terms of like you've got to sort through all this stuff. A lot of setup time, but you may not need it all at once. It looks like they give you way more than you actually need. Furniture looks unpainted. He's doing an awesome job of not having the minis in frame. Yeah, well, the minis are what people want to see, right? So ElVirg says, sorry, no, this is a pre-production copy that he received. The Facebook group pictures that came out are a full copy with all the extras. Okay. Yeah, I'm not part of the Facebook group, so I appreciate the clarification there. Again, this is double fail. Yeah, right now we're just kind of watching it. I mean, if it's really like 150 bucks, basically, what's wrong with that? ElVirg says the video creator definitely rushed through it. He got threatened by the group suing Game Zone Miniatures. I mean, if by pursuing legal action, they get justice, I mean, that's what matters. It's not a frivolous lawsuit. He was originally planning a series of videos and is now only doing this one video until later. Well, that sucks. See, I don't get, though, why would the miniatures be a problem? I mean, if you don't give the miniature a name, but you just have a design, it's an original design that they made. So what's the big deal other than people want their money and they want their product that they paid for shipped? Like, why can't you just show it? I mean, other than maybe it looks bad, you're like rubbing it in their face, like, ah ha ha, here's what you can't have. We've got the subtitles there. So there's 36 of those little pouches. Oh, and there you see the dice over here. I don't know about barrel dice. I've never used barrel dice, but I suppose it's the same principle. You just roll it, and it rolls and rolls until it stops rolling. Yeah. Virg, you've got a lot of strong views on this. I'm glad you're here. He says, everyone believes that the delay is because he's not had the quest books ready and printed, nor has he had the translations for all the other languages. JoeCosier skips 25 to 34. He's rolling the dice in the box. 40 plus bags. I mean, if I were somebody who just collected board games, I would love this. I'd just be like, I don't even care. Just the fact that I've got stuff to look at automatically is awesome. But if I'm a HeroQuest fan and I'm just like, okay, I like the fact that I can just easily take the stuff out of the box, set up the game and play. I don't have to do all this extra prep work and setup time. And, it's not like I'm getting ready to play, Warhammer Quest and I've got to paint everything and do all this extra stuff. Like, it's a hobby and a craft and a game all in one. Like, HeroQuest is good because you can do those things if you want to, but you're not required to. You can just take it out of the box pretty much and just play it. And I guess having it all in these bags keeps it organized. I mean, clear bases, that's an interesting idea. A lot of people have thought about doing that, but very few people actually do it. Okay. Virg says this doesn't include all the stretch goals, so only certain bags are included. Now let's get that chat on there. Sorry, you're not seeing the chat. There you go. I want base. Well, you can paint those clear bases. There's nothing wrong with that. They would just become opaque as soon as you paint them. But if you want to add texture, I mean, you could add like flocking to them. It's the same. It's just that you lose the transparency. Berg says, I think they did the bags to organize sorting everything into the game boxes. Yeah, as the minis were the first thing made that we ever saw. Yeah, because they're not using candy trays, right? So the original HeroQuest, they didn't have this sorting problem because they had sprues, right? They had a big green sprue, a big white sprue, a red sprue, a brown sprue, a gray sprue. You just stack those up in the box and then after people buy it, they're going to take it apart anyway and organize it however they want to. Okay, so the bases are separate from the figures and they are color coded, but they're plastic. They're not primed metal. Mix of resin and metal. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, when I think of resin, I think of those extremely brittle, like minis 3D prints that if you like drop it from waist height on a kitchen floor on the linoleum, it, busts a piece right off. If it's that heavier kind of resin, like you put stuff on your mantelpiece, that's okay. Like, it's almost like wood. I don't know. I'd want to see some samples. Like, I'd rather. I mean, that kind of held me back from getting RantQuest because for a while I was under the mistaken impression that stuff was resin, and so I didn't want to buy it because of that. Because I'm like, why would I buy a box full of like fragile stuff that's just gonna break? Like, it's not a it's not a set of fine china. It's supposed to be a board game that you carry it with you and you drive it over to your friend's house and you play it and then you throw it back in the box. These are made with molds regardless of materials. Well, yeah, fair point. Right. It's not 3D printed. So even if it's made of that, it's cast resin. Good point. Good point. No, that would imply that it's more stable and durable. Durable. Can't talk. Got to be able to talk on the RantCast. Yeah, good comments, guys. But yeah, this is the first time I'm seeing this. I did not watch all this before. And like I said, I did not follow this campaign very closely like a lot of you guys did. Because yeah, if I'd invested money in this, I'd be like every day, like refresh, where's the update? Where's the update? What's going on? Kind of like we were with the HasLab campaign for those 2 months. We're just like, man. Yeah. See, it all looks a little bit flimsier than I would imagine, but I mean, you save a little bit of cost here and there. The main thing is you want the board and the pieces to be like high quality. The other stuff you can skimp a little bit on. Of course, if the box is total trash, it's meant to store the stuff and protect it. That's its primary function. The cards, yeah, you want the cards to be halfway decent. But people loved the HeroQuest card game, even though it was like made of like the cheapest stuff imaginable, from what I hear. Ruby says, I never heard of this until after HeroQuest 2021. Okay, so that was that video. And then we've got, let's see here. I'm not going to play AshQuest's entire video, but you got to love the clickbait thumbnail. Hey, it's a fine art, man. You don't hate the player, you hate the game. So there he is in all his glory. The brave adventurer. Good old Ash. So yeah, he just, now to be fair, he made his video 5 months ago. So he's not taking advantage of the new developments. I'm sure he'll do his own video more recently, or based on the recent developments. But yeah, just skip ahead. He goes through the website. We could do the exact same thing. I'm not trying to steal his thunder or copy what he's doing, but he's just like looking at it and talking about it. So you can kind of see there. ElVirg says, but that's why they did metal on certain parts. The parts that weren't stable and more prone to breaking, they replaced with metal pieces. That's kind of cool. So kind of like making a clay model, but you have like a metal skeleton inside it. Or yeah, like the sword maybe would have a pin in it. Because that's what you do with metal miniatures anyway. Like I'm not one of these people that can afford metal miniatures. Like I have one that was gifted to me, Warhammer 40K, like killer can from 2008, and I've just barely begun to work on it. But yeah, it's like you're supposed to, like you've got a metal figure with a metal weapon, and if you just glue it on there, it's gonna like break off or fall off. So you got to pin it with something. There's all this technique. Like I thought I was being clever. I was like, oh, I could just get a soldering kit and just melt it on there. But apparently it's not that simple. You can't just do that because you're just going to end up melting the whole thing. Hey, Strange Bus, you're back.
Oh, hello.
RantCast. Now we can have a show.
How is everybody? How are you?
I'm doing well. Not as well as this guy. Look at his awesome microphone. I'm really jealous of that microphone.
His fluffy microphone?
Yes. I
Oh,
hope.
good to hear, Joe. Good to hear.
I hope that Amalgamash is at Gen Con, so I can thank him for all the great things that he's done for the community. And I hope he's dressed as a pirate, because that would be just awesome. If he doesn't dress as a pirate, I'm going to be very disappointed. But
Thanks.
yeah,
Thanks, Ruby. Appreciate it.
he's going to be doing some interviews, so that'll be sweet.
Nice.
A lot of people from the community are going to be there. A lot of the HeroQuest fans, and like, it'll just be like I used to be one of those people. I'm like, listen, I never want to meet people from the internet. Like, it's just too weird. But after a while, it's like, okay, you realize people are okay. It's just a matter of, hey, you've got some shared interests. A lot of us put on a little bit of a show when we're on camera, or on the mic. A lot of people are down to earth once you meet them. But yeah, you could.
Most people are good. Most
Out.
people are.
Yeah. So anyway, be sure you check out this video. But look, he's just going through it, and I was thinking, the thought that I had when people were saying, "Oh, it's TseuQuesT, it's never going to come out." You could just go onto their catalog, assuming they're still selling these, and you could just buy these miniatures, and you could just paint them and print out a board, and you could just create the thing that they're showing. I mean, it might cost you more, I suppose, because you're doing it piecemeal. Like, I think if you use, like, let's say Reaper miniatures to create HeroQuest, I think it would cost you like $300. So I mean, it'd be a lot, but I mean, those would be like high quality. Like, every miniature would be like a high quality, like, hero miniature, rather than they make compromises to sell you the big package. So Verg's prediction is it's never going to come out, to be honest. I mean, originally it was going to be just in Spain. I think that's what everybody was assuming. So it's like, okay, so if you really wanted it, maybe you could import it, pay some extra. But yeah. So Josh, what is your opinion on TseuQuesT? Do you think it's really coming out? Do you have any opinions on the? I suppose you.
It looks super.
Oh, I suppose you missed the unboxing video. He didn't show as much as we wanted to see.
A little bit. I did talk to a rep, so I did and then they restarted my stuff, and nothing was done. And they're gonna send somebody out tomorrow, so I'm hanging by a thread over here.
I mean,
but I caught the gist of your stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if I'd spent $150 on this 10 years ago, I'd either want my refund or I'd want my damn game, right?
So this, if I got this, people put in their cash and it just never got released, right?
Yeah, but they kept saying,
and now all of a sudden,
wait, updates coming. Like, they kept stringing people along. It wasn't just, the project is canceled. Sorry.
And now people are now somebody. Is this Hasbro that's releasing it then?
No,
or I don't know.
Hasbro has nothing to do with this. This is Game Zone Miniatures.
Okay. Okay, Game Zone.
They may or may not have had a claim to the copyright at the time in 2014, because from what I remember, Hasbro kind of was scrambling to get it from Chaosium, like the name HeroQuest, and they had to talk to Games Workshop to make sure that they got the Warhammer IP out of it. Like, they were scrambling to make sure that they secured the rights to everything HeroQuest related.
So what's the big deal with it? Isn't it just it's a HeroQuest right?
Yeah.
It's Quest, right?
Yeah, they were allowed to continue the project as long as they just changed the names of stuff and made it clear that it's not an official HeroQuest product. It's just it's basically a clone of the game.
You can't put Quest after your title name.
You can.
In America, okay.
I mean, there's
not have the rights to publish the game.
There's a Brazilian
game. Was it just everything looked similar or what?
Very similar. There's a Brazilian game called For the Quest, which looks very similar to HeroQuest, although they've changed everything around. So there's lots of games. I mean, there's Ultra Quest, there's Dark Quest. There's all these games out there, whether they're computer games, card games, board games, that are clearly inspired by HeroQuest. But I mean, just look at the box. You got the barbarian with his sword to the side, and you got the people behind him with the monsters. I mean, it's thematically very similar to what it evokes that same vibe. Even the way the logo is shaped.
Yeah, but a lot of people back in the day were doing designs like that. I mean, I like the classic, like the big old barbarian and stuff like that.
Well, it makes me
I
think of
mean,
the old Star Wars poster, with Luke Skywalker with the muscly chest and, Princess
yeah,
Leia
dude,
with the cleavage. And it's like, that looks like Conan the
I'm wearing
Barbarian,
that.
except it's fantasy.
Yeah.
He's got the lightsaber raised in the air. It's got the starburst on it. Hasbro
Well,
bought the name rights from GameZone, and they changed their game title to TseuQuesT. More or less, that's pretty much what it was. But
are they? Is this release going to the people that paid for it then, or
well, that's what
what?
they claim, starting with the fans in Spain. See, the story that I heard was the GameZone. Well, first there were people saying that GameZone had no right whatsoever to HeroQuest at all. They were just trying to squat on the name or pretend that they had like it was just a complete scam. Then there were people saying no, 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 they did have the rights to HeroQuest, but only in Spain, not in the rest of the world. And so Hasbro just made sure they stepped in, either one, threatened them and scared them away, or two, just bought that little piece that they had so that they could just do it all and said, yeah, you can still release it, but you just got to change the name to something else. Virg says 3 posts up. Oh, see, Virg, yeah, you okay. They had the rights to the name in Spain. They did not have the rights to publish the game. The name. So they could have had some other product and called it HeroQuest, like a card game or a novel or a video game or something like that, because that stuff matters. Sure enough. Well, I'm going to take your word for it because I'm not trying to get bogged down in the legalese. I mean, that's not the point of this. The point of this for me is this is what TseuQuesT was. So if you forgot about it or if you're still pissed off about it, it's back in the news because it may really be coming out this time. Now we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I mean, if people get it and it's a pile of crap, then yeah, we can just move on with our lives. I don't think it'll ever be as big as Avalon Hill's HeroQuest, but I mean, if it's a decent game, I mean, you think about it, it's like okay, you pay a not a huge amount, and you get a lot of assets, which are pretty much ready to use for HeroQuest style gaming. I mean, who says that you have to use their rule book? You could use your own rule book, right? Be pretty easy to like mod it for that, because that's what a lot of people do anyway. They buy other games and they just like use it in HeroQuest. So you could do that. Or if you didn't have Hasbro's HeroQuest and you wanted to just try this, it's like okay, it's an alternative, but you just might end up paying through the nose for shipping. So let's go back to the get the unboxing. Okay, so here's the unboxing video again. I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but just so there it is. This is more for Strange Bus here. See, there's just little interesting details. Like there's that little cutout in the GM screen. So I'm like thinking, okay, so that's you can see Zargon's dice roll. And they've got these little dials that you put inside the cards so that you can like turn it. It like it's a little counter for you, like a little built-in counter for like body points or whatever.
Yeah.
Mind points. The cards look a little floppy though. And they're non-standard sizes. But basically you've got all the heroes and then you've got female versions of all the heroes and then you've got like alternate heroes. And that quad fold board, I mean, that looks like a lot of generic boards out there that people have printed like for fan-made stuff. But you can flip it over and there's like an alternate maze layout on the other side. So I mean, it could be fun for stuff. And those squares look pretty decent size.
I mean, so for what you're offered and in the realm of board games, there's a lot here.
Yeah. Most
So
board games you don't
I
get
would
this much
say
stuff. You get a deck of cards and maybe like 5 miniatures and a set of dice. That's what most games give you.
I would say with the fact that you have all the, if you're very familiar with HeroQuest and you're looking for something new, I would say, but is this still $150?
Well, it's 135 euros plus shipping, so I'm just guessing 150. I mean, it's probably
I'd say, use
150,
your judgment.
170, something like that.
Because like for me, I'm still mastering or getting a handle on HeroQuest though. So like, if I wanted to move on to the next thing, and I had money to burn for a new board game. I mean, I don't mind it. The only thing I can tell is from what this guy's doing, everything kind of looks a little flimsy.
Yeah, like it's kind of thrown
But
together.
yeah.
Well, and I'm going to skip ahead because he just takes forever looking at these. And it's just like all these little, these little bags.
But there's a lot in here.
Yeah. So the original HeroQuest, you would have had sprues. You would have had these sheets of, you've got a red one, a green one, a white one, a brown one, a gray one, to pull the figures off of. And the Hasbro version, you've got the candy trays that you got to pull the figures out of. Here, they're just all sorted into bags. So it looks like the furniture's unpainted, or it's just gray. Yeah, look at him. He's like bending it. It looks like a cereal box. So that might be a little cheaper. And then he's got these dice. They're these barrel dice. So they're not just like regular D6s. So that's kind of weird. But I think that was, again, one of these little details they changed just to make it absolutely 100% clear that this is not HeroQuest. This is just another game that's inspired by HeroQuest. But I don't know. Maybe there's somebody out there that really likes barrel dice. So I guess is the idea that you roll it and it could end up on its edge. So you get a really rare result. Because it's like when you flip a coin, it doesn't land on its edge most of the time. And then I think at a certain point he shows the bases. Oh yeah, the bases are transparent. So they're round see-through discs for the figures. So I mean that's something new. You don't usually see that. Okay, and then he shows the figure. So it's some kind of resin and it has like metal pins inside it, we think, to like brace it. So it's kind of a interesting kind of solution. So it's going to be stronger than just plain old resin. It's not 3D printed. Yeah, because Verg reminded me, they did have, way back in the day, they had videos showing the molds that they were like extruding the figures out of, or whatever the term is. So yeah, they're primordial Chaos Warriors instead of just Chaos Warriors or Dread Warriors.
Bergen, you're dying on us.
Uh-oh. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Hope they're still alive.
It could be.
Hey, Jacer.
Could be me.
Oh, am I wrong? Verg says no metal pins. There will be resin bodies and metal weapons for some pieces. Oh, okay. So I guess I was just using my imagination. I was just thinking about how people like take metal miniatures and they put pins through them to protect or to secure. Like, if you want to put a sword in the guy's hand, it isn't the sword just glued on top of the hand. It's like the metal goes through his hand, down the arm or whatever. Okay, so Verg had some more commentary. Let me just go back. So basically, this is one of the first crowdfunded projects that has had a major lawsuit brought up to the creator. I guess I've heard of ones that have been shut down, but basically representation for supports in Spain. It's been a large legal battle with the creator delaying, and a lot of folks are speculating he's doing a quick ship out to show he's actually doing something to get the judge to be more lenient. Interesting theory. Verg continues. So nobody is sure if he has a full production ready to ship or if it's just a show and tell that he's scraped together to appease and buy himself time. Show it off, say it's coming to market. They announce that the game is coming to retail at the beginning of May. TseuQuesT. So that was Double Fail on YouTube. So we thank him for posting that, and thanks to Amalgamash for his video. So yeah, that's TseuQuesT. So I guess I would just say I hope that the people that need it get justice. If it were me, I'd want either a refund or I'd want the game that I paid for, and I want it not to suck. At least be serviceable, for the price I paid. And there was one other thing, very small, little detail, not a lot of info yet that I've seen, but This was Stephen Baker's game. His Bizargun was posting about this. I mentioned it briefly before. It's called Where Heroes Dare. And he has a whole blog talking about it. Now, it was posted on April 1st, so I was like, is this really real? Apparently, yes, it is. So Stephen Baker, the OG of HeroQuest, making his own game. And just from the description, it kind of sounds like one of the early concepts of the original HeroQuest, like a modular dungeon type of deal with some light role-playing features. And he's not the only one working on it. So he's got, this is on Dwarven Forge. If anybody's ever seen Dwarven Forge, it's this really like premium, expensive, like sculpted 3D dungeon design type thing. So if you really want a fancy tabletop dungeon, you go to Dwarven Forge. It's like I would not afford any of this stuff because, like, you think you're buying a whole game. It's like, nope, you're just buying like a room or something, a little room piece. Still, if he's trying to have some like really high quality pieces, it would make sense that he would be partnering with somebody like Dwarven Forge. So dynamic play environment. Now these are stock photos. People pointed out these are stock photos. High-powered heroes. Multiple modes of play, 1 to 4 players. So I guess you can play it solo. Development diary, the early days. So this is not final artwork, of course. Stephen Baker. Yeah, and I guess he was ill for a while, so he wasn't updating. So people were kind of like, "Oh man, I hope he's doing okay," because he's an older guy, But he's still around, and I guess he's been at some like charity conventions. And one of the guys from Yield In, you may remember Wally Dubs. So Wally Dubs has been in contact with him, like doing interviews and like play testing. So it's like, oh, cool. So there's somebody inside the community that's monitoring this game. So coming 2024 October, we'll see if that happens. I mean, so many of these projects are, passion projects, labors of love, and they're doing it on a smaller budget, and after COVID and all this stuff. So who knows? But I guess hey, another game. We wish him well, Stephen Baker. I don't know. Any thoughts on Where Heroes Dare? I guess there isn't much to go on at this point.
Oh yeah, you got me there, man. I'm
so many games.
This is where it's way out of my territory.
Yeah. But this is what Dwarven Forge is. So if you want to spend all kinds of money, there's some guys on YouTube. I don't know if they are the Dwarven Forge guys or if they're just people that buy it, but just imagine like a GameStop sized store where all the shelves are just covered with this terrain, this like resin terrain. And you just go over to the shelf. Yeah, let's just have the medium hallway and the little tower, and we'll just put that down on the table and let's play. And it's all pre-painted and everything. It's like, dang. So like each of those pieces is probably like $50 or something. But you've got castles, dungeons, cities. Okay, there's some things. So $124 for this multi-part hallway. I mean, I guess that could be an entire quest in theory. It's all these little pieces that you got to set up. It's like playing a game of HeroScape, where it's like, oh man, I got to build all this. And if you got kids with you, they're like, oh yeah, we get to build all this. It's like, oh, now that's the spirit.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
A lot going on.
This room is $60. So yeah, so if he's partnering with Dwarven Forge, I mean, is the box going to weigh like 100 pounds, and it's going to be just like crammed with this stuff, or is it just going to be maybe one of those expandable games where like they give you cardboard? I'm just guessing, like they give you cardboard, and then they say, oh yeah, but if you really want to upgrade your game, buy this antechamber for $96 from Dwarven Forge, and here's a coupon. I mean, I don't know. There's all kinds of ways they could promote it. But maybe they're just designing the miniatures or 3D pieces. I mean, this.
You really want to amp up your game? There you go.
Yeah, you really
got all this
money to burn. Well, there's even more reliquaries.
But wait,
There's more.
There's a lot more.
Yeah.
There's so much more.
This looks like one of those Christmas villages, with like the snow-capped houses and stuff. The little gingerbread factory next to the train set. Okay, so they do have miniatures. Yeah, those guys look like your typical war game pieces these days. So just imagine something like that mixed with HeroQuest. The thing is, though, like
they're really detailed.
Yeah,
really detailed.
The plastic miniatures nowadays. I mean, people used to make fun of plastic miniatures, like, oh, they suck and everything, but they look pretty good. You don't need metal to have detailed miniatures, and if you're painting everything anyway, you can make it look pretty awesome. And as long as it looks good enough, from like 2 or 3 feet away when you're just playing at the board, that's what really matters. I mean, you spend a few minutes admiring the artwork, and then you get into the game. It's all about the gameplay. But so yeah, that's Dwarven Forge, and then Game Zone Miniatures, and you've got some topics.
I do, but first I'll kind of start off, since I didn't even get to pop in or host. Kind of a bummer. Yeah. The last couple of streams have been really crappy. For those of you who haven't been following, I've been attempting to stream, and I've been getting stuff like this a lot the last couple month. So if you see a stream pop up and I just stop, it's because it's impossible. And I've been trying to figure it out for the last couple weeks. I just buckled down today and called because we were like, "You gonna host?" Yeah. And then I started up a half an hour up, and I'm just getting frame drops. So I apologize for that, everybody. We were late because I had humongous issues.
You like the title?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yep. But I hope everybody's doing okay. Hope you're having a great night. And I've got my camera on, Kirkin. Don't know if you have things set up for that.
Oh yeah. Sure. Let's see if I do.
I mean, you don't have to. I'm just saying I have it up if you have things set up for that.
Discord. Hey, there's the man, the myth, the legend. Grok,
yeah.
The legend.
Dwarven Forge sounds like one of those things that if you just want that extra hobby, I feel. It looks really detailed.
Yeah.
Really detailed, but I feel like it would be a lot of ducats.
Yep.
But yeah. No hat today. I'm rolling my dad clothes.
Dadcast.
So, yeah. I would. It would be right if it wasn't being shown through Discord, but I still have my Go Ask Mom shirt.
That's great. Well, but Mom is still okay because it's MOM.
Yeah.
It's Ogxa Mom.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I did have a couple topics. Really just short stuff because wasn't really too much on my radar. Just been really busy with work and the kids as they're getting older, especially the baby. So I've been on Mr. Mom duty. I feel like that's Michael Keaton, right? Yeah, I feel like Michael Keaton.
Mr. Mom is a great movie. Check it out.
It's one of those situations. But times when I have had extra time, I was able to score Dragon's Dogma 2 at a reduced price. And I say reduced price because I was given some extra cash. So I picked that opportunity to go against my better judgment and buy that game. And I still don't recommend it for people. So, I mean, I do and don't. It's a really big love-hate relationship.
Interesting.
So, because it goes against everything I've like say as far as like we've had a lot of game releases in the last couple of years where like games get released like half-assed. Same thing with like any major corporation that we've been talking about since the RantCast has been a thing. But
too true.
I have been playing that game through most of my time, just buckling down and playing it, and then I guess I reviewed a couple of new releases that came out just for shits and giggles. And I guess the Madam Web movie is supposed to be the new Morb or Morbius.
It's Morbin time.
As far as yeah. R.I.P. O.J. Oh.
Yeah, O.J. Simpson.
He really did pass away, did he?
Yep.
He's got other topics for me today, because I'm just not. Oh, yeah, he did. April 10th. Holy shit. What did he die of?
Cancer.
Oh, yeah. I will always remember him, not of the trial, but just of his role in the Naked Gun.
Yeah,
That's it.
I'll be honest with you. Same here. I never followed his football career or anything. It was just he was Norbert from the Nordberg from the Naked Gun.
Yeah. We won't rest until we find whoever did this. Now let's go get something to eat.
Yeah. Or when he tries to break in, like he tries to kick the door in where the guys are like he's undercover and like his foot just goes through the door, and so they all have like plenty of time to like all load their guns, like shoot him.
Prostate cancer, the worst type of cancer.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, lung cancer is pretty bad too.
But it's pretty bad.
But Ozzy released a new single. Sounds awesome. For real? Dude, okay. I don't doubt it, but like I feel like the last time I heard that guy speak in an interview, or when he did the promo for the PlayStation VR, he just did and that was it. Like you barely hear the guy speak. He's like getting so old, and he's so like his voice is so blown out.
Yeah.
But like,
well, he said
I was like, man, like
for the what was that show? Was it the Osbournes or something? What was that? He did that reality show. He said he was drunk for every single episode. So
I bet he was. So, I bet that was just that was like a free ticket.
Yeah. So I mean, if maybe they sobered him up and he can make it, or they have a special filter that like I don't know.
I mean, he's having fun, but like the last time I saw him in anything, it was like a commercial, and I hadn't seen him prior to that in like years. Yeah. So like my impression of him was that he was old, but he wasn't looking old. And man, he has aged some years. I mean, I haven't seen him recently, but
he partied a little too hard for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, he's up there, but like, damn.
Yeah. Well, and I always got the impression he wasn't one of those guys that was just like, oh, throw caution to the wind. Like he actually tried to get off alcohol a couple different times, but I guess his persona is just this like burned out like rock guy. So maybe he just plays that up. I don't know. I have no idea.
I mean, with a couple other people that have done that, but like I feel like
Mick Jagger.
Yeah, I feel like there was that one guy, I can't remember his name, who had the nose that was just destroyed because he did so much like coke. I can't remember his name.
There was a
I should look it up.
Yeah. Patient number 9 was pretty good. Yeah. They play a lot of Ozzy Osbourne on the radio. Like I never realized it growing up, but it's it's always every
Artie
hour
Lang.
on the hour. Artie Lang.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comedian.
Yeah, I guess he fixed his nose. But yeah, he had like really bad cocaine nose. As in like his nose was like deflated real bad.
Wow.
Because he did so much that like he just screwed up his messed up his nose.
Nerves and you're all messed up. Yeah. Don't do drugs. So Dragon's Dogma. What was the big problem with that game? Because I think I've only ever heard of it when you mentioned it, so that's how out of the loop I am on that one.
I've told this before on the stream. I enjoy the hero's journey type games.
Yeah.
And I never played this game and never played the series before. I was told to pick up at least like the earlier games. I don't think the Dark Arisen is the first one.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah, but like it's not like what you think it is because I don't think it's like a sequel type storyline. I think it's kind of like its own deal. It just follows kind of like the same shit. It's just different. Like it has like a variable gameplay on each game. I've never beaten them, so. But like I picked up Dark Arisen on the PC, and I played that for a little bit, and it's just kind of like one of those games where it's got you get your typical like main storyline, side quests, stuff like that. The thing that makes it different, and it does add a spice of like difficulty and challenge with each fight. You have pawns that you recruit, and your main pawn, which are kind of like your adventurers that travel with you.
Okay.
So you get one main pawn that you can customize along with your character, and they're kind of like the person that you rely on, and they rely on you. So like, if you're a fighter, you can have a mage alongside you to heal you. They have personality. Depending on their personality, they may heal you. They may like go and collect things. They all do certain things, and then the ones that you recruit, they level up to a certain extent, and then eventually you'll want to recruit other pawns as you journey forward. So like you'll meet new adventures as I think about it. So that gameplay is kind of the same in the second one. It's just better looking. And you'll face huge monsters, like really huge monsters. So think of like you think like Monster Hunter or Shadow of the Colossus.
Monster Hunter.
And but like the fights are really difficult, so it's good to have a good party that knows what they're doing or that has your back, and that you stack up. You have your inventory stacked up with either healing items and stuff, and how much you carry depends on how fast you run. And the save system's kind of wonky because, and that's in both games because like you only have really one save, so like for your character. So if you're not at a tavern or you're not getting out of the game, if you die, there are possible consequences. And in the second game, you take like what's called the loss gauge, or I call it attrition, pretty much. Like so, if you die and you have to restart, you take a loss of health. So there's like issues with like dying. So also your pawns can like they die, they go back to the rift to be recruited. But like if like your pawn dies in combat, it kind of like to me it adds kind of like a realistic factor to battle. I was in battle with an ogre, and one of my pawns got thrown off a cliff and into the lake, and they were gone for the journey. Like I can't go and pick up another pawn until I get into town, or unless they're on the road, and it's one of those things. So, it's kind of like what's appealing to me about like the HeroQuest board game or Baldur's Gate. Is it's kind of like the hero's journey. So you are on a quest. You grab 2 or 3 other people to go with you on this quest. You take out some dungeons. You face a boss. You save some people, and it's very simple. The story itself is simplistic, but along the way you run into other things that divert you, and you have a massive world to explore. And that to me is Dragon's Dogma. So. The second game is, like I said, pretty much the same deal, except for there's like microtransactions and kind of in the way that they put them in Resident Evil 4, the new Resident Evil 4, where you don't really need them, but they did kind of push a little bit this time. I believe in like the earlier games, you could like money wasn't too big of an issue, Now to like rest at inns and buy armor, it's a lot more expensive. Your save, the save is like horrendous.
You're talking about
I feel
in-game money though, right? You're not talking about.
Yeah, to rest at an inn, like some inns are like 1,000 to rest at. Like when your starting town in Dark Arisen was like 50 gold. It's like 1,000. Now it counts for the economy, but like eventually, if you go to like Batal in later game, it's like 10,000 gold to rest at an inn, and like that's where you save. You can't you can leave the game mid journey and it will save. You can exit like saving, but they've always told you like to either save at an inn or because like your manual saves, like your auto saves, aren't that reliable. So when you start the game, because you only have one character save, there's load at last save and there's load at last saved in, and it's pissed people off because they've accidentally loaded that last saved in.
Oh shoot!
And they'll lose like 10 levels.
Dang.
And characters they've been at. And once that happens, it autosaves.
Crap, that's not good.
So, like I said, the game itself is fun to play. There's a mildly decent story there, but I feel like the way they've made the game is similar to the older ones for a reason, so they could ham-hock microtransactions. And because of that, because these are the same people that made Devil May Cry 5, which was a great game, it caused a lot of performance issues because they didn't have time to optimize the game, I feel. So when you go into town, my computer, which I think it holds weight for a lot of like heavy games.
Yeah.
Like the oldest thing is my processor, and it's 4 years old. It's going to be 4 years old this year. But it is a Ryzen 9, and I've got 64 gigs of RAM, and I've got a 4080 in my computer. I will drop from the 60 frames that I have set it to, and when I go to a big town, I will drop to like 25 or 30, depending on what I'm looking at. And it will just variable. It'll go up and down. A lot of stuttering, a lot of like weird, like Jedi Survivor type performance issues. So, if anybody's seen the previous RantCasts and heard me talk about that game, bane of my existence.
Oh man, yeah, you play through an entire game and then lose all your progress. That's gotta suck.
Yeah.
Just because
of
design flaws.
Besides that, they said the game has challenging fights. It makes you go out there without, to me, it makes you go out there without it feeling too Dark Souls-y. I don't get frustrated, but I feel like when I'm going out there to fight things, especially big bosses, or if a dragon drops down, the game encourages you not to fight everything. Flee, run.
Sometimes
sometimes you gotta run. Day and night are different, so when nighttime happens, there's undead, there's skeletons, there's other things to fight. Things get a lot harder at night. Camping, you can camp. But like I said, there was a time period before people got angry at this, where, like I said, they stored your saved characters on a server. Capcom did, and when you loaded this character, when you first bought the game, if you wanted to start over to remake your character, it was like $2 to do.
Oh man!
Like they wanted you to pay money to start over, or to go into like the barbershop and to buy what was called the Art of Metamorphosis, which would allow you to recreate your character, redesign your character. It was it was like $2.99.
I mean, it's one thing on Xbox Live to say, oh, if you want to change your gamer tag so that people don't know who you are, like you got to pay money. But for in-game stuff like that, that's just basic stuff that should be free. I can see why people would be pissed.
Yeah, and people would try to restart, and they would end up getting that character. Or so there was a big revolt around that, in which Capcom fixed it recently. You start a game over. You still only have that one character save, but you get the ability to start over. They did up the amount of Art of Metamorphosis items to like 99. It's just hard to get them, I think. But like you don't have to pay for them, I think now, or it's a lot easier to receive them. So they did make some performance patches and some patches for like keep people away from having to buy stuff all the time. They were like almost. I think at one point in time they were almost trying to get people to pay for the camping.
See, but
So,
see, this is where like you always get in every community, you get people saying, "Don't complain, don't be a whiner, don't be a toxic fan. Just either buy
and
it or
no,
don't
but
buy it." But it
and
gets results
I
when people
don't.
complain. They reel the stuff back in. They pull this crap every time, see what they can get away with, and then people complain. It's like, oh, shoot, we're screwing up. We got to like dial it back. I don't know.
King is still in chat, but when I first got this game, because I actually bought the game at one point in time, like when it first came out,
Wow.
spent the $70 they wanted you to pay for it, $90 Canadian,
Wow.
and just to try it out for 2 hours on stream, and it was fun, but it was definitely frustrating, and I refunded it, but yeah, you can definitely tell there was definitely some issues. So I officially took $15 out of my own pocket to play this game now. So I think that's worth it.
Cool.
If you can get it for $15, yes. But yeah. But yeah, as far as it goes, there's a lot of things about this game that I tend to get lost in. I can sit there and walk from one place to another because the fast travel system is like you have to have stones to fast travel, and you don't get those often. So you are traveling manually from one place to another, and the map is pretty big. So I usually do like a mission or two at a time, and in that time I could wander from like one biome to the next and admire the canyons and the scenery. It's a beautiful game. So even if you don't have like certain graphics enabled or anything like that, so I'm just hoping they patched up a little bit more so I could play it on the Steam Deck. But yeah, I could go on and on about it. I mean,
so that's Dragon's Dogma. So you recommend it now?
I mean, yes and no. Like I said, it's a love-hate relationship. Like I said, if you're there are really cool parts that I've never really experienced in a game. Like I said, the kind of like the classic hero's journey battle system where if you're in a fight, you can lose the people you're with. Now, like I said, technically they're not gone forever because according to the lore of the game, they're pawns. They're like lifeless.
No one's ever really gone.
But does Ribby have a question? Can't tell if it's a question or a high five.
Yeah, you in the back, in the Ribby shirt. Oh.
So, but yeah, like I tend to like to keep my pawns the same as long as I can before I switch some of them out, because I'm particular about which ones I have. So I will and they'll talk amongst themselves. So if there's like a mission or a quest you have to go to, you have like a marker that tells you where it's at. But it's not like the game doesn't hold your hand and tell you like which route to go or like this is how you get there. So if it's in a part of the map that you haven't been at, it's faded, and you have to either find it yourself or you hire a pawn that's a little higher level than you that has knowledge of the quest from their arisen character. So, like, because you can hire other people's main pawns. Like, so I make a main pawn, and when I'm in the inn and I'm closing out my game, my main pawn will walk. Like, online, it will walk around and get hired by other people in game.
That's cool.
And yeah, and then he'll go on adventures with them and like get knowledge and bring that back to me. So And the same thing for people that I've hired. So like if they have knowledge of a quest that I haven't done, I can tell them to take me there, and they will run, and I will follow them. And it's a lot easier than trying to track and like map out the quest yourself. Same with like treasures and other things like that. So you'll also run into them again sometimes. Like I had a pawn that I had to give away because they were under level, but they were another character's pawn, and they leveled them up, and I ran into them hours later, when I was halfway through the main storyline, and they were like, "Hey, good to see you again," and like you could rehire them if they're high enough level. I mean, you could hire an under-leveled one, but like you could rehire them and stuff. It's just kind of neat. Like it's almost like you ran into an old friend that you went questing with. Like
he was an old friend.
Yeah, like something out of a movie.
It makes me think
like
of
here's this old elf that you traveled with like weeks or months ago, and now you're running back into him at the tavern.
I thought about doing stuff like that with HeroQuest. I mean, I guess I still can, you recurring characters, but it's like having people that you encounter in one campaign and then they like appear in the other campaign, like on the alternate week. But I don't know. Some of that's really hard to keep track of. So I guess that's the beauty of a video game. It's a little easier. They can keep track of that stuff for you. By the way, you're right side up now. I was managed to fix the camera while you were talking. So,
oh, there you go.
Go ask mom.
Go ask mom.
Yeah, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, I guess before I say like any of the Disney shenanigans, I also have like another personal note. There might be another time where I will be probably doing RantCast or streams, and that's because I'm going to be moving in June.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, we unfortunately were told by our landlords that they won't be renewing our lease with us. Not because we did anything wrong. They sold the place to some young rich dude, and he wants to live here and like party it up.
All right. So Elon Musk
So
bought your place, and
pretty much.
let that sink
Like
in.
we met the guy. He was nice. He was just like, no offense, but I'm moving in here, and I was like, okay. So
Okay. You going like far away, or are you just going like still in the same area?
no, we're still gonna be in town. It's just like we wanted to buy a bigger house, and we were going to wait another year. We're kind of like gauging the housing market around here, and like we were going to kind of wait for it to kind of, because we have a large enough money to put down for like a payment, but
Not really great
we were
right now.
just kind of like waiting, and a lot of people that we know are kind of waiting. So what we were going to do is just wait and get a car, and now we kind of have to rearrange some stuff because we're going to get there's a nice apartment not too far away that we're going to get into. It's a 4-bedroom. It's a lot bigger than this place. So it just does not have the nice basement space. So I might be moving into a smaller office, but it'll be a nice, bigger open area.
I'm just thinking you'll have to send me your new address. Like I mean, if you have the space to do some on-site stuff, or maybe I'll get a new place and I'll be inviting you over. Well, if you ever have
it could
time.
be it. I'll have time. If I have time to like smoke cigars and drink whiskey on my downtime, I have time to go over and do stuff. So I'm turning into an old man.
Yeah, you got the flip flops and the shorts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dad bod. That's where it's at. Yep.
I feel like I'm becoming more and more like who is it? I kind of give myself those Michael Townley vibes from like GTA 5. I just want my peace and quiet. I take my peace and quiet very, very seriously. So when I'm outside, I like relax. I pull my deck chair back, just lean back, grab a cigar, drink, put in my earphones, and I listen to really old music.
Yep. Listening to cyber sound music.
Yep.
Or Karl Casey. White bad audio.
Or is it Phil Collins? Yep.
Oh
It's
yeah,
Phil Collins.
Phil Collins.
Don't care anymore.
It's true. He doesn't.
But yeah. In other news,
So Disney.
we had
Uh,
some diabolical Disney shenanigans. Like always, they're always up to stuff. Nothing super bad. Just was going to talk about, like I said, the new levels of stupid that I'm pretty sure nobody in this cast, I could be wrong, nobody in this cast has watched any of the new Marvel movies, and I haven't
still
either,
making those
per
things.
se. I just skimmed them over. Well, as you know, there's a small confliction between, and this isn't Disney. I wanted to correct myself on this. I believe Madame Web is created by Sony.
Oh really?
If I'm,
I thought they
hold on.
sold everything over to Disney. So that's not true.
Well, yeah, and see that's what I'm
X-Men
saying.
and
Is I
Spider-Man.
think they had. Let me make sure.
Well, it's like
'Cause I'm
earlier
pretty
I
sure.
was
Yeah, Sony. So
yeah.
it's made by Sony because I believe Sony and Disney came. They had like a kind of like a thing. Yes, they did sell the rights over
Yeah.
to Disney. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. But
The better
like
superhero
further
movies
on.
used to be made by Sony and not Disney.
But as far as that goes, they did something called Madame Web, and there's a lot of like generic like sayings in that movie, as far as I've heard, and I've looked them up, and it's like there'll be like one case where they'll see somebody swinging from the building, and they'll be like, "Man, that almost looks like he's some kind of spider person."
Oh, so not your
Like
usual tropes of like,
yeah, like they can't say Spider-Man,
it's me that you want, let the girl go. Like, you don't
and
know what you're dealing with, do you? Get
since
out of there.
it's a hardcore like prequel to Spider-Man, right?
Is she supposed to be like Spider-Man's ancestor or something?
I think so.
Because
But it's supposed to
there
be
was that
like,
whole thing about his parents being like secret agents in the comics. I
yeah,
barely remember it because he
but
didn't
you're
know who
supposed
they
to see
were.
like you're supposed to see Ben Parker and stuff like that, but they don't mention Parker. They just call him Ben.
No,
And
old Ben. You mean Obi-Wan?
yep,
Wow. Okay.
and
So really
so,
contrived. Like,
but he is mentioned in the series as Ben Parker, and there's Mary Parker. So I don't know, but from what I've heard, they don't mention the names in the movie, but in the Wikipedia, and then if I remember right, in the cast, that's what they're referenced as. So,
hey stranger, I didn't catch your name. It's Ben.
yep,
Ben
just Ben.
Skywalker. Dun 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 dun.
Oh,
What?
oh God. So,
Too soon.
and then like I guess there is a line that literally made me roll over laughing because I had to look it up to make sure it was true, and it was Madame Web. Uh, yeah, is a quote because they couldn't use you know how like Ben uses the with great power comes great responsibility.
Like they trademarked that, so they couldn't use it.
Well, I guess so.
Great
So they had to use
responsibility
something else.
comes great
I'm
power.
guessing. I'm guessing they had to do something because they wanted to avoid lawsuits. So
Sure.
they changed the iconic quote to "When you take responsibility, you will gain powerful abilities."
What? Man, that's embarrassing. That's just
Isn't it?
like just don't
And
even say it if you can't say it.
literally, I really wish I could show you some of the replies to this from. It's awful. Like, but it sounds like a school poster in the library.
I hope that the powerful force is by your side. Like what?
I hope the force is next to you.
And it's female. If you're into that sort of thing.
So yeah, but
Yeah,
it's weird.
just a cringe, just a groan.
And like half the script feels like it was like AI'd, and a lot of the ADR work was done really poorly. Like you'd see them like turn around to speak, and they had to use ADR, but like their mouth wasn't moving or something like that.
I knew you were going to talk about this on the RantCast, and I felt like I don't know enough about this movie. So I looked it up, and it had an $80 million budget, and it's made $100 million worldwide.
Yep.
So guessing how much the marketing budget, they usually say it's like double, so it's a flop. I think it's probably safe to say, right?
They should have just hired Andrew Garfield back.
Yeah.
Because it's all they had left. Tobey Maguire wasn't going to do it, he's too old. And they gave away Tom Holland, so they should have just did like they should have just made a movie called Spider-Person and just rehired Andrew Garfield.
Spider-Person does whatever a Spider-Person can. Spins a web.
And then have him open a rift with his ass into the Spider-Verse. And then he's able to join Spider-Man as they sign a deal with Disney. If the movie is popular enough, then Spider-Person can be part of the MCU.
And if you could get Christopher Walken in and have him talk about...
with his ass.
No.
The
radioactive
Get out of here.
Spider. It bit him. And he went crazy.
I'm the villain.
I'm
gonna rob this bank.
I'm gonna
take all your dollars.
I'm the Antichrist. You got me in a real vendetta kind of mood. Never have you seen such violence in these hands.
Look,
haven't killed
I
a man
asked you politely.
Since 2002.
Be quiet. Now I'm gonna have to shoot you.
Yeah.
Non-binary arachnid being. Perfect.
Yep.
I just found my new AI comic. Let's do
right
this.
Off the tongue.
Okay.
That'll sell 1 million copies.
You get no royalties, Joe, but I'll give you a thank you.
Oh man.
Okay.
Truly.
Right.
We have reached greatness.
A short book on the hero non.
Are you doing an AI?
Binary.
Create a comic.
What happens when you give away your idea? Arachnid being. Done. Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
The title, The Web of Heroes, The Chronicles of Arania. Chapter 1, A Web Woven with Pride. In the bustling city of Arachnopolis, where the towering skyscrapers shimmered in the sunlight and the streets buzzed with activity, there existed an extraordinary being known as Arania. Neither fully male nor female, Arania was a non-binary arachnid, with a heart as vast as the cosmos and a spirit as resilient as the silk threads they spun. Born amidst the shimmering strands of a moonlit web, Arania was destined for greatness. From a young age, they displayed remarkable agility and strength, effortlessly traversing the intricate network of threads that connected their world. But it wasn't just physical prowess that set Arania apart. It was their unwavering courage and boundless compassion.
Boundless compassion?
If you want Chapter 2, you're going to have to pay on my OnlyFans, sorry.
That's crazy.
Dude, it wrote like an entire book. 4 chapters, including an epilogue.
Oh, man.
I'll be like that guy that made the Willy Wonka meth lab.
What?
Because he wrote AI book. You didn't know about that?
No.
Like, that's what they called it, but he pretty much made everything out of AI and then like tried to sell it off to people. It was like in the UK, like this gorgeous, like beautiful looking like Willy Wonka like tour. And it was like, come visit like the candy shop area, and then when you went in, it was just like a warehouse with like some lady. I'll have to save this. This would be great. Send it to Joe.
Yep.
This is already a better book than any that one guy made.
Okay, we're back.
Yeah, we are back.
RantCast.
I am going to. I mean, those are pretty much my topics for the night. I was going to try to keep it as quick as possible.
Madam Web.
We're about a half.
Skip it.
Yeah, we're about a half an hour past our time.
Get some rest.
But unless you got anything else, I will be attempting to stream tomorrow. If my tech gets here on time and everything doesn't fall apart in my hands, so I will keep everybody updated.
Yeah.
Are we losing you again?
No,
Oh no, that's just my end. Okay. But yeah, just if you guys are interested, I'll be probably doing a Baldur's Gate 3 stream with King if he's still up for it. And that'll be tomorrow. So we'll create our characters, hop in, and do stuff. If he had Dragon's Dogma 2, we could make pawns and travel with our pawns. But he did the smart thing and did not buy it. I can take my royalties and tots. Well, okay. I will send you a pizza roll.
Oh, to my web song.
Mm-hmm.
My son Ryan John.
I haven't had tots in forever. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
Way to go. Thanks, Joe. All right.
All right.
Well, with that, you can take us out since you're hosting, my friend.
Yep. To play us out. There's no words. We'll do it live. All right. We'll listen to some Karl Casey here on our way out. Thanks for joining us on the RantCast. RantCast. Except I got to get the music.
Oh, I'm just dancing. There's no music.
Play
us out. What does that mean? You play us out.
There's no words.
There's nothing. Ruby, what do you mean? What do you mean? What does that mean?
Here we go. Maybe. All right. RantCast! Everybody have a great night. And HeroQuest fans will be streaming tomorrow, but not Saturday. Got some family stuff going on. But we'll see you then.
See you guys. Have a good night.